There's something strange about society. People say they admire independent thinkers until they actually meet one. Everyone praises originality, authenticity, freedom. But the moment someone starts thinking differently, questioning the system, refuses to blindly follow the crowd, people become uncomfortable. Not because the independent thinker is always right, but because their existence challenges everyone else. And that's what most people secretly fear. Not rebellion, not intelligence, but the discomfort of someone who refuses to conform. Human beings are social creatures, and for thousands of years, survival depended on fitting in into the tribe. If the group rejected you, you were vulnerable, you were unsafe, you were alone. And even though the modern world changed, our psychology didn't fully evolve with it. So the fear of social rejection still lives inside us, which explains why so many people suppress parts of themselves just to fit in. They laugh at jokes they don't find funny. They agree with opinions they don't believe. They follow trends they don't even like. Because deep down, belonging feels safer than honesty. An independent thinker creates psychological tension because when someone questions the beliefs everyone blindly accepts, it forces people to confront uncomfortable possibilities. What if I'm wrong? What if I've just been copying everyone else? What if my thoughts, my opinions aren't even my own? And most people don't want to ask themselves those questions because questioning your worldview is fucking painful. It's easier to attack the person making you uncomfortable than to examine the foundations of your own beliefs. That's why history repeats the same patterns over and over. Scientists, philosophers, artists, people who think differently are always mocked first, rejected second, and understood much, much later. Society loves innovation, but usually hates innovators while they're still alive. One of the darkest things about human nature is that groups often care more about agreement than the truth. When a majority believes something, challenging it becomes emotionally dangerous. Even intelligent people can abandon logic just to avoid isolation, because standing alone feels terrifying, and you can see this everywhere now. On social media, schools, work, even among friends. The moment someone expresses an unpopular opinion, people rush to shame them, not necessarily because they're wrong, but because disagreement threatens group stability. And the internet made this even worse. Now belonging is rewarded instantly. Likes, validation, approval, while independent thinking often comes with criticism, misunderstanding, or isolation. Truth is rarely comfortable. That's why most people avoid it. Real truth forces responsibility, change, self-awareness. Comfort tells you, stay the same. Don't question too much. Just follow what everyone else is doing. And honestly, living unconsciously is much easier. Independent thinkers threaten that comfort because they ask difficult questions. Why are we chasing lives we don't even enjoy? Why do people need constant validation? Why do people feel empty even after getting everything they wanted? And why, and why, and why? These questions disturb people because they expose hidden contradictions. And so many would rather protect their illusion of certainty than face uncomfortable truths about themselves or the world. What nobody tells you about independent thinking is that it can become lonely. Because once you stop blindly following the crowd, you start noticing how much of society runs on imitation. People just copying everything, copying opinions, copying personalities, copying lifestyles, copying desires, and sometimes without even realizing it. And when you stop participating in that unconscious behavior, you naturally become different. Not because you're trying to be superior, but because awareness changes you. Maybe that's the real reason people fear independent thinkers, because they represent freedom. And freedom is terrifying. And once you truly start thinking for yourself, you can no longer live your life on autopilot. You start questioning everything: the system, society, other people, even yourself. Not everyone is ready for that, because independent thinking has a price. Sometimes it costs approval, sometimes relationships, sometimes belonging. But at least your thoughts become your own in a world full of people trying desperately to fit in.